in it. We went by what we've seen. And when he said the just shall walk by faith, don't walk by sight, but walk by faith. You ain't going to see it. You ain't going to hear it. You ain't going to feel it. You just know it. And you can't know something if you don't understand it. If you can't see it plainly, and that's why he said to the lukewarm church, anoint your eyes with eyesight that you may be able to see the vision. That you may be able to push yourself out of this place. What would he also be? Zealous. You're going to have to kick yourself up. Be zealous. You're going to have to push yourself up out of this place. I didn't take you there. You're going to have to get yourself up out of it. And this was bringing all the pieces together for 3.5 years. This is bringing it all together to this point that the door of opportunity is right before us. But if we can't plainly see it, that there's a door standing before us and he's encouraging us to walk through it, then we're not going to get through it. We're not going to encourage ourselves to run. He said it may look like, that's why I think he said it twice, it'll tarry, but it won't tarry is what he said at last. Once you start running, it ain't going to tarry. But it'll keep tarrying as long as you sit there. And he told Habakkuk 2 different ways. Though it tarry, it not tarry. Once you run, Habakkuk, it won't tarry. Once you get the plain vision and get it going, it'll come. The reason it's tarrying, the reason it's holding back, you're holding it back, Habakkuk. Because you can't see. You're letting all these enemies combust you, come over you, cloud your vision that you can't see it clearly. And you're wondering where I'm at. Wondering why I'm not pulling you through. But you're going to have to see it clearly that you'll run by faith. Through the door of opportunity. But we've been waiting on him all the time. If you look at your past, most of your Christianity, how much has really been walked by faith? I mean, really. You just ponder this out. You don't have to tell me, but you ponder out in your life. How much have you really, really deep down driven by faith, or are you waiting on God to come pull you out of it? Think about it. And you look at the situations of life. Have you sit there and waited on God to come get you? Or have you praised him in the middle of the storm, knowing he's going to work it all out and continuously didn't let the enemy push you down? And you kept right on going through the doors of opportunity of life? Or have you waited on God to come bring you out of it every time? You waited on it. You get down a deep hole, and then God has had to come rescue you out of that deep hole. How many times have we really moved by faith towards something? Or we got to feel it, we got to see it, we got to hear it before we'll do it. And I think most believers have to say they've had little faith. You still got some or you wouldn't be here. But they've waited on God to come direct them in big signs saying, turn now. But he's doing everything he can to get us to go through that door. He's saying, right here's the straight path. Right here it is. This is the opportunity you've been looking for and you've been waiting on for so long that I've been telling you about. It's here. It's right before you. But unless you can see it plainly, you're not going to run in it. You're going to tarry and tarry and tarry about it. And we're just like Habakkuk. Anyone else? Yes. Go ahead.
The way I'm looking at it right now, what's going through my mind, if I just start moving out by faith, maybe apparently sooner or later, the Lord will give me something that I can see.
Mm-hmm.
True?
That's what he's saying.
Okay.
He's saying if you'll move to the door, you know what instruction I've given you.
Right.
Put it all together and go the direction I'm telling you to go. If you'll move by faith, I'm not going to come bring you out of it. But if you'll move toward it, then I'll meet you. When you step through the door, I'll be there waiting on you.
That's fair, sorry.
Mm-hmm. I've gave you everything. I've brought all the instruction to you. I've laid it out and spelled it out. I've guided every point into this. There's people on the other side of that door that you're going to blow your mind. But if you don't step through it, you're never going to know. And all he's saying is, all I'm asking you to do is trust me and go through that door. See what happens. Just see what I'll do. But it's tarrying because we're letting the enemy and all these problems, just like Habakkuk. So that's what he's putting it saying to Habakkuk. It's being so long because you're holding it back, Habakkuk. You ain't walking by faith. You're waiting on me to bring you through. You keep throwing my law at me and my word at me, saying, God, you promised this, you promised that. He said, yep, I sure did when you stepped through the door. But faith powers God, don't it? Look at what the Word says. How do you get the powers of God? Faith. You got to trust me and use it that way. You've been waiting on me to come do it all the time. Most of the time, you have to say in your own life. I have to say that. I've been waiting on God to come move me. Most of the time. I sure have. There have been some faith things. I can't say they haven't, but really big opportunities and things, no. I waited on God to come shake me or guide me or do something. He's saying, like he said on this one right here, you're going to have to push through this one on your own. I'll be with you, but you're going to have to make the right choice. I'm not going to drag you through this door because this one's a big one. This is one of the biggest doors we'll ever walk through in our life. Anyone?
I just want to say that I thought yesterday even the Spirit was all over this place.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the music lessons.
Oh, yeah.
Part yesterday, and I thought on it most, like even when I was asleep last night, stuff that came to me about it while I was asleep last night. I believe that little fella that's here that was telling about staying up our hilltop. I believe
He called me last night.
I believe he got something here yesterday, and I think that's what like even him being here. I think there's a reason for him being here and telling his story.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a good place to be here yesterday. It really was.
It really was, wasn't it? And that's what I was telling them. It's not the same kind of people, is it, that we expect? It's not. And I'm not trying to put them down because they're not. I mean, they're not. But they're going to be the people that makes the greatest disciples. And that's the ones we got to go get. Yeah. It's not what you're going to see with your carnal eye, because we're going to be like Samuel when the first son of David's brother comes up. Oh, that's got to be him. Handsome, tall young man. No, it ain't. It's going to be the little runny boy that's back out there in the backfield that we don't know where he's at, and we've got to seek the Lord to say, where we got to go to get him? Where's he at, Lord? Because like I said, when you look at all the people that you see getting saved today, how many stay? You know why? We're not casting the nets in the right place. He said in the last days there's only going to be few that's chosen. All through it, there's only few, select few, that's got a real heart that will be able to do this. And that's going to be the building blocks that takes this to the next step. But we got to go through this first door of opportunity before we get the next building process done. And it's going to be just like the way Jesus and the disciples did it. It's not going to be traditional church sitting here waiting on them to come through the door. We're going to have to go through the door and go get them. Anyone? Write it down. Write down the things that God has showed you. The key elements, and get a plain vision is what you got to have. It's tarrying because we're allowing it to tarry. We're like Habakkuk. We're letting the enemies around us say, God, why ain't you answering me? Why ain't you doing what you promised? I'm trying my best to hang on. And like he said, and he guided us all the way through it, you're going to have to move by faith on this one. This one's not one I'm going to take you through. And I think it's the first leap of major faith that we ever probably made. I mean, major faith that we've ever made in our Christianity. It's going to be one of them that you're going to step out of the boat on and trust that you're going to walk on water.